He ruled in silence for centuries. No voice dared to reach him, until one whisper in the snow shattered his crown. The Alpha King stood where the world ended. Snow stretched in every direction, white upon white, cold pressed against his skin like a second crown. Centuries had passed with no voice but his own breath. No footsteps had ever followed him here. The wind had always obeyed him. Tonight, the wind hesitated. Ice cracked beneath his boots. The sound echoed too loudly. His breath fogged the air, tasted sharp, metallic, ancient. The forest behind him remained frozen in fear. Trees bent but did not sway. Even the stars looked distant. Then it happened. Sound. Not wind. Not ice. Voice. A human. Slipped through the snow like warmth. His spine tightened. His claws dug into his palms. The voice spoke his name. No one knew his name. The snow around him began to sink, slowly, as if something beneath the ground was breathing. His ears rang. The crown on his head felt heavy for the first time. The voice came again, closer, right behind him. He turned. There were no footprints. The snow remained untouched. Yet the air carried her breath, warm against his neck. The ground trembled. I split open with a sound like bone breaking. The snow whispered back in her voice. And the Alpha King realized the silence that had ruled him for centuries had been listening all along. The silence thickened around him. Not empty anymore. Heavy. Crowded. The Alpha King did not move. His muscles locked in place. Cold crawled under his armor. The snow beneath his feet pulsed once. Like a buried heart. The whisper returned. Clearer now. Closer than breath. It slid across his ears. Across the old scars carved by wars long forgotten. Every instinct screamed command. Order. Destroy. Yet his voice refused to rise. The snow answered instead. Shifted. Curved inward. Forming a hollow around his boots. Frost crept up his legs. Not biting. Holding. Testing. The Alpha King lowered his gaze. Within the snow, shadows moved. Not dark. Not light. Shaped like memories. Faces flickered. Kings he had crushed. Beasts he had broken. All staring upward. Waiting. His chest tightened. The air grew thin. Each breath scraped his throat raw. The crown hummed. A low vibration against his skull. It had never made sound before. The whisper spoke again. Not his name this time. Question. Simple. Unyielding. The snow stilled. The world leaned closer. He felt it. The mountains. The frozen rivers. The ancient wolves buried beneath ice and legend. All listening. He opened his mouth. No sound emerged. The cold rushed in. Filled his lungs. His heart thundered once. Hard. Painfully alive. A sensation he had not felt since his first battle. The whisper shifted position. Now to his left. Then behind. Then everywhere. It wrapped around him like falling ash. The snow rose. Thin streams lifting from the ground. Spiraling upward. They brushed his hands. Warm. Too warm. His fingers twitched. Cracks split the earth beneath him. Not violent. Deliberate. Light bled from the opening. Pale blue. Ancient. It illuminated his armor. Revealed dents and fractures he had forgotten. The Alpha King stepped back. The ground followed, keeping pace, refusing distance. The whisper hardened, no longer gentle, still calm, pressed against his thoughts. Not a command, an invitation. His temples throbbed. Visions flooded him. A frozen lake breaking under a smaller crown. A throne built from bone. Hands reaching for him through fire. He clenched his jaw. Ice formed along his beard. The snow surged higher. Now waist deep. Still no footprints. Still no body. Only her presence. Unavoidable. The whisper laughed softly. The sound cracked something inside him. A memory surfaced. A voice long erased by time. A girl standing in falling snow. Unafraid. Calling him something other than king. His breath stuttered. The snow reacted instantly. Spikes rose around him. Dark. Protective. The Alpha King forced himself to relax. The spikes melted. Steam hissed upward. The air filled with moisture. Warmth crept across the clearing. The forest groaned. Branches snapped under the sudden shift. The whisper grew pleased. The ground opened wider. From the light rose a shape. Not solid. Not spirit. Her outline shimmered. Long hair woven with frost. Eyes reflecting storms. Her feet hovered above the snow. Never touching. The Alpha King stared. His heartbeat echoed in his ears. Every instinct bowed. Not in fear. In recognition. She tilted her head. Snow fell upward around her, defying the sky. Her voice reached him directly. Not through sound, through sensation. Cold fingers brushing his spine. A warmth spreading in his chest. She stepped closer. The snow parted for her. The light beneath the ground surged. His crown vibrated violently. Pain flared behind his eyes. He dropped to one knee. The snow cushioned the impact. Gentle, almost reverent. Her presence loomed before him. Not towering, dominant, simply there. Impossible to ignore. She extended a hand. Frost formed along her fingers. Symbols glowed faintly within the ice. Older than language. Older than rule. The Alpha King hesitated. Centuries of solitude screamed defiance. The whisper pressed again. Not forceful. Patient. The snow beneath his knee warmed further. Steam coiled upward. The forest leaned closer. Animals emerged from hiding. Eyes reflecting the glow. None fled. None attacked. The Alpha King lifted his head. Met her gaze. The moment stretched. The world held its breath. His hand rose. Low. Heavy. Trembled. Frost crept along his gauntlet. Not freezing. Binding. When his fingers brushed hers, the light exploded. Not blinding. Revealing. The ground shook. Mountains groaned. Ice sheets fractured miles away. Memories poured through him. voices buried under centuries of silence, laughter, dreams, promises broken by crowns. Her voice rose above them all, clear, steady. The snow answered, every flake vibrating. The Alpha King gasped. Air rushed back into his lungs. Too much. Too fast. His heart slammed against his ribs. Alive. Painfully alive. The light dimmed. She withdrew her hand. The ground sealed beneath them. The snow settled. The forest exhaled. But the silence never returned. Her presence remained, standing inches away, close enough for him to feel the heat beneath her cold skin. She circled him slowly. Her steps left no mark. Yet the snow shifted with each movement. Listening, learning, she stopped behind him. Her breath brushed his ear. Warm, human, impossible. The Alpha King closed his eyes. The crown cracked, a thin fracture running through its center. He felt it, not as loss, as release. The whisper spoke once more. Lower, deeper. No longer a question. The snow began to rise again. Not violently, purposefully, shaping walls, floors. Something vast stirred beneath the frozen world. Something that had waited longer than he had ruled. And it had finally found its voice. The earth answered first. Not with sound. With movement. Low. The snow walls continued to rise. Curving inward. Forming a circle around them. The Alpha King felt the pressure change. Air grew dense, heavy with age. Each breath carried frost and memory. The presence beneath the ground shifted again. Closer now. So close that the ice beneath the snow turned translucent. He could see shapes moving below. Massive. Not alive in any way he understood. The woman stopped circling him. She stood at the edge of the forming wall. Her outline flickered, as if the world struggled to keep her solid. Her voice did not speak, yet meaning pressed into him. Images surged. Time before crowns, before kings, before names. Snow falling on untouched land. Voices rising together, not in command, in harmony. The Alpha King staggered to his feet. His legs shook. The ground steadied him, not allowing him to fall. The fracture in his crown widened. A faint glow pulsed through it. He reached up, touched the metal, felt warm. That had never happened. The snow walls sealed overhead, forming a dome of ice and light. The outside world vanished. No sky, no stars, only frost and glow and her. The presence below surged upward. The ice beneath them cracked open, not shattering, unfolding, like petals of a frozen flower. Cold air rushed upward, carrying a sound like distant voices layered together. The Alpha King pressed his hands to his ears. The sound passed through him anyway. Into bone, into blood. The woman lifted both hands. The sound softened, organized, focused. The ice beneath fully opened, revealing a vast chamber. Walls carved by time itself. Symbols etched into every surface. Glowing faintly. Responding to her presence. The Alpha King stepped forward despite himself. The ground formed steps beneath his feet, leading downward, inviting, demanding. Each step sent a pulse through his body. Memories peeled away, layer by layer. Battles faded, victories dulled, loneliness sharpened. He reached the chamber floor. The cold here was different, not hostile, intentional. At the center stood a pillar of ice. Within it something moved, not trapped, resting. The woman descended beside him, her form steadier now, more defined. Her eyes glowed brighter. The whisper returned, now singular, focused. The pillar pulsed in time with his heart. Each beat echoed through the chamber. The Alpha King placed a hand on the ice. Pain surged through him. Not injury. Recognition. The ice reacted. Cracks spread outward. Light poured from within. The presence below rose fully. Not emerging. Revealing itself. A vast consciousness pressed against his mind. Ancient beyond counting. Patient beyond comprehension. It wrapped around him. Testing. Measuring. The woman stepped between him and the pillar. She placed her hand against his chest. Directly over his heart. Pain eased. The consciousness paused. Listening. The Alpha King gasped. Words rose to his tongue. Not commands. Not threats. Truth. His voice finally broke the silence. It echoed through the chamber. Through ice. Through stone. Through time. The pillar responded. Peeled away. Revealing a core of living light. The chamber shook violently. The snow dome above cracked. Light speared upward. The world outside felt it. Mountains shifted. Frozen seas groaned. The Alpha King dropped to one knee again. Not forced. Run. The woman knelt with him. Her presence steady. Anchoring. The consciousness surged again. Stronger now. Focused on him. Not hostile. Demanding balance. His crown split further. Pieces fell into the ice. They dissolved instantly. Absorb. He felt lighter. Exposed. Terrified. Alive. The chamber filled with sound. Not noise. Voices layered into harmony. The same voices from his visions. The same voices that had once chosen him. Then abandoned him. The woman stood. She faced the pillar. The light flared. She spoke. This time aloud. Her voice resonated through the chamber. The words were not language. They were law. The consciousness withdrew slightly. Listening. Waiting. The Alpha King felt something shift inside his chest. Pressure released. Hollow space opened. The light reached into it. Not filling. Connecting. The chamber walls glowed brighter. Symbols rearranged themselves. New patterns forming. The snow dome shattered above them. Cold air rushed in. The night sky returned. Stars burning brighter than before. The forest beyond stirred. Creatures emerged fully now. Wolves, birds, beasts long thought extinct. They gathered at the edge of the clearing. Watching. The Alpha King rose slowly. He stood without the crown. The woman turned to him. Her expression unreadable. Her voice softened. yet carried weight. The ground beneath them began to shift again, paths forming outward, leading away from the chamber, leading into the world. The consciousness receded deeper into the ice. Not gone. Wait. The Alpha King felt it watching him, waiting for something more. The woman stepped toward the path. Snow did not resist her. The Alpha King followed. Each step sent ripples through the ground. The forest leaned closer, branches parting, making way. The cold wind returned, but it no longer bowed. It moved alongside him, cool, alert. The fracture in his crown no longer hurt, because the crown was gone. The whisper faded into silence, but the silence felt different now, full, expectant. Behind them, the ice chamber sealed itself, light pulsing faintly beneath the snow. Ahead, the path stretched into darkness, and something in the darkness shifted, responding to his voice for the first time in centuries. The darkness ahead did not retreat. It listened. The Alpha King felt that attention like weight on his shoulders, not crushing, cessing. The path beneath his feet pulsed faintly. Each step awakened lines of light buried in the snow. Old routes, forgotten passages. The woman walked ahead, her form steady now. No flicker, no blur. Snow drifted around her ankles, never touching skin. The forest thickened as they moved. Trees grew closer, branches bent inward, forming arches above the path. The air smelled different here. Not sharp, not clean, rich with damp earth beneath ice. The Alpha King flexed his hands. His claws no longer ached. Strength flowed differently now. Not roaring, focused. Behind them, wolves emerged from the trees, one by one, silent, eyes glowing pale gold. They did not bare teeth. They followed. The woman slowed. She tilted her head slightly. The wolves stopped instantly. The Alpha King felt it. Authority, not seized, recognized. A low vibration passed through the ground. The snow rippled outward. Something far beneath shifted again. Not the vast presence from before. Something smaller. Restless. The woman stopped at the edge of a clearing. The path ended abruptly. Before them lay an open basin of ice. Smooth. Perfect. Reflecting the sky like a frozen mirror. Stars shimmered beneath their feet. The Alpha King stepped forward. The ice did not crack. Softened, accepting his weight. The wolves remained at the edge, watching, waiting. The woman stepped onto the ice. The basin responded instantly. Light flared beneath the surface. Patterns spread outward. Circles within circles. The Alpha King felt pressure build in his chest. His heartbeat synced with the glow. The ice deepened in color. Dark blue. Almost black. Shapes moved beneath. Low. Deliberate. Too large to measure. The woman turned to him. Her eyes reflected the shifting light. She raised one hand. The air thickened. Sound dulled. The world narrowed to breath and pulse. The Alpha King stepped closer. Cold surged up his legs. Not painful. Intimate. The ice beneath them thinned. He could see layers. Time pressed flat into frozen sheets. Faces stared up from below. Not trapped. Preserved. Kings. Queens. Leaders whose names had been erased. All watching. The Alpha King swallowed. His throat burned. The woman placed her palm against the ice. The basin trembled. Crack formed. Break. Clean. Spread outward. Splitting the reflection of the stars. The ice parted. Revealing a dark hollow below. Cold air rushed upward. Carrying whispers. Not voices. Intent. The Alpha King felt his balance shift. The ice tilted gently, guiding him toward the opening. The woman stepped back. She remained at the edge. Her gaze locked on him. Steady. Unwavering. The Alpha King hesitated. Centuries of instinct screamed caution. The ground answered. Subtle push. Encouraging. Not forcing. He stepped into the hollow. The cold wrapped around him instantly. Not water. Not air. Something between. The ice closed above him. Light filtered through. Muted. Blue. He sank slowly. Weightless. Memories pressed in. Not flooding. Arranging. His breath remained steady. The cold supported him. Guided him downward. Below, the hollow expanded. A vast cavern opened beneath the ice basin. Walls carved smooth by ages of movement. Light pulsed from veins in the stone. The Alpha King descended toward a platform of crystal. It rose to meet him. Receiving. He landed softly. The cold receded slightly. The platform glowed brighter. The cavern responded. A deep hum filled the space. Not sound. Resonance. The Alpha King looked around. Columns rose from the cavern floor, each etched with symbols, similar to those in the chamber above. But altered. Evolved. Platform shifted. Turning him slowly. Aligning him with the cavern center. A massive structure loomed there. A ring of stone and ice. Suspended. Rotating slowly. Within the ring, darkness churned. Not empty. Where? The Alpha King felt a pull in his chest. The hollow space within him responded. The darkness pulsed. Once. The ring slowed. Up. The darkness within stretched. The Alpha King clenched his fists. Energy surged through him. Not his own. Burrowed. Shared. The darkness brushed his senses. Cold. Heavy. Curious. Images pressed into his mind. A time of many voices ruling together. Fracture. Voice. Silence chosen over chaos. The darkness recoiled slightly, reacting to his thoughts. The platform lifted him higher, bringing him level with the ring. The darkness shifted again, forming shapes, not faces. Echoes. The Alpha King raised a hand. The darkness stilled. Listen. He felt it then. The expectation. The demand for response. Not submission. Acknowledgement. He opened his mouth. Words formed. Not commands. Not pleas. A declaration shaped by centuries of isolation. The cavern vibrated. Columns flared with light. The ring responded. Darkness folding inward. Condensing. The Alpha King staggered as pressure built. The platform steadied him, supporting. The darkness reached outward again, this time deeper. It touched the hollow space within him. Connection sparked. Pain flashed. Dark. Grief. Then warmth. The cavern exhaled. The ring shattered. Not violently. Elegantly. Fragments dissolved into light. The darkness collapsed inward, forming a core. It hovered before him, pulsing softly. The Alpha King felt it bond, not bind. Anchor. The platform lowered slowly, returning him to the cavern floor. The core followed, floating beside him. Responsive. The cavern walls shifted, passages opening, revealing paths leading deeper still. Above, faint movement rippled through the ice basin. The woman watched from the surface. Her presence pressed faintly through the layers. Steady. Observing. The Alpha King took a step forward. The core followed. The ground responded, illuminating the path ahead. The hum deepened. Something ancient stirred further below. Not the vast consciousness. Something narrower, sharpened by purpose. The Alpha King felt it sense him. Measure him. Prepare. The cavern air thickened. Cold intensified. The light dimmed slightly. The wolves above howled. The sound filtered down through ice and stone, reaching him as vibration. The core pulsed faster, eager. The Alpha King moved toward the deeper passage. The darkness ahead shifted, responding to his presence. The path narrowed, walls closing in, guiding him forward. The silence pressed close again. Not empty. Waiting. The waiting silence thickened. It pressed against his skin, against his thoughts. The passage narrowed further. Stone walls breathing slowly, expanding, contracting, as if the cavern itself slept. The Alpha King moved forward, each step deliberate, measured. The core of darkness drifted beside him, pulse steady, almost calm. The air grew colder, sharper. It scraped his lungs. Frost formed along the edges of his armor, not freezing, marking. The symbols etched into the walls began to glow, one by one, reacting to his presence, not welcoming, acknowledging. The floor sloped downward, deeper, older. The hum beneath his feet intensified, a vibration that rattled bone. The Alpha King paused. The cavern responded. The hum softened. Listening, he continued. The passage opened into a vast hollow, so large that darkness swallowed its edges. Light from the core barely touched the far walls. The ceiling arched high above, cracked, veined with glowing frost. At the center stood a structure, not built, grown. Ice and stone fused together, twisted upward like a spine. The Alpha King felt it immediately. The presence, focused, dark, not vast like before, condensed, intentional. The core pulsed faster, uneasy. The structure stirred. Sound emerged, low, grinding. The ice spine shifted, sections rotating slowly, lining. The Alpha King stepped closer. The ground vibrated violently. Not warning. Testing. Pressure built behind his eyes. Images forced their way into his mind. Counsel fractured by fear. Voices raised. Hands gripping weapons. Snow-stained dark. A decision made in silence. The Alpha King clenched his jaw. The vision shattered. The structure responded. Light surged along its surface. Symbols flared bright white. The presence within sharpened. Where now? Fully awake. The core drifted forward. Pulled. Drawn toward the spine. The Alpha King reached out instinctively. His hand trembled. The core paused. Hovered. Waiting. He felt the demand. Not for obedience. For choice. The cavern grew still. Even the hum faded. The Alpha King took a breath. Cold burned his lungs. He extended his hand fully. Released the core. Surged forward. Merged with the spine in a flash of light. The cavern erupted. Not collapsing. Transforming. His crack. Tone shifted. Energy rippled outward. The Alpha King staggered. The ground rose to meet him. Supporting. The spine split open. Revealing a chamber within. Light poured out. Harsh. Unforgiving. Within the chamber stood a figure. Angular. Carved from ice and shadow. Its eyes glowed a piercing blue. Focused entirely on him. The Alpha King felt its gaze pierce through armor. Through flesh. Into memory. The figure spoke. Not aloud. Directly into him. The words carried weight. Judgment. The cavern echoed with the meaning. The Alpha King stood his ground. Pain flared across his chest. The hollow space reacted. Resisted. The figure stepped forward. The ground cracked beneath its feet. It spread outward. The Alpha King felt the temperature plummet. Breath crystallized instantly. His vision blurred. Frost crept along his lashes. The figure raised an arm. Symbols ignited around it. Ancient. Unforgiving. The Alpha King felt memories pulled from him. Ripped loose. Battles. Orders. Deaths given without hesitation. The cavern filled with echoes of screams long silenced. The Alpha King roared. Not in command. In refusal. The sound tore through the chamber. The symbols flickered. The figure paused. Its gaze narrowed. The Alpha King stepped forward. Each movement a struggle. Cold clawed at his muscles. He forced himself onward. The hollow space in his chest burned. Light surged from within. Not blinding. Focused. The figure recoiled slightly. Ice cracked along its surface. The cavern responded. Walls glowing brighter. The hum returned. Deeper. Stronger. The Alpha King reached the threshold of the open spine. The figure raised both arms. The temperature dropped further. Time seemed to slow. Frost froze midair. The Alpha King pushed through. Pain exploded through his body. Not stopping him. The hollow space expanded. Light and darkness intertwined. The figure screamed. A sound of breaking ice and shattering stone. The cavern shook violently. Cracks raced along the ceiling. The spine fractured further. The figure staggered back. Pieces of ice fell away, revealing something beneath. Not a being. Or brilliant. Unstable. The Alpha King reached out. His hand passed through cold and light. Contact sent a shock through him. His vision exploded into white. Memories flooded him again. Not his own. A guardian created to enforce silence. Bound to an oath that no longer served balance. Left alone. Waiting. Becoming rigid. The Alpha King gasped. The figure froze. Its movement stilled. The cavern quieted. The light within the spine softened. The Alpha King withdrew his hand. The pain receded slightly. The guardian core pulsed weakly. Confused. The Alpha King spoke. Not loudly. Not forcefully. The words carried truth. The cavern listened. The guardian core flickered. The figure collapsed inward. Ice dissolving. Stone crumbling. The spine shattered completely. Fragments dissolved into light. The guardian core hovered briefly, then sank into the ground. The cavern sighed. Passages opened along the walls. New paths revealed. The Alpha King stood trembling. His breath ragged. The hollow space within him stabilized. Still burning, but controlled. Above, far beyond stone and ice, the woman felt the shift. Her presence pressed closer. Concerned. The wolves howled again. Louder this time. The cavern light dimmed. The hum settled into a steady rhythm. The Alpha King turned toward the newly opened passages. Each radiated a different resonance. Different weight. Different promise. The silence returned. Not empty. Expectant. The world below had accepted his presence. But it demanded more. Always more. The Alpha King stood alone in the quiet cavern. The passages waited. But he did not move toward them. He closed his eyes. For the first time in centuries, the silence did not feel like a throne. Felt like a doorway. The hollow in his chest pulsed once. Steady. The ground beneath him warmed. Ice receded just enough to reveal stone. Solid. Honest. Above, the woman stepped onto the basin. The ice opened without resistance. Light guided her down. When she reached him, the cavern brightened. Not sharply. Gently. As if relieved. She met his gaze. No judgment. No command. Only understanding that ran deeper than memory. The Alpha King exhaled. The breath carried centuries with it. Regret. Pride. Loneliness. They dissolved into the air. The symbols on the walls faded. Not erased. Rest. The wolves above grew quiet. The wind softened. The ancient presence beneath the world settled back into sleep. Balanced. Touching. The Alpha King reached up. There was no crown to remove. Only frost melting from his hair. He turned toward the path leading upward. Toward sky. Toward sound. Toward voices that would answer him. The woman walked beside him. Not ahead. Not behind. Cool. As they rose, the cavern sealed itself, leaving no trace. Only warmth beneath the snow. At the surface, dawn broke across the frozen land. Light touched the forest. touched the mountains, touched him. The Alpha King stepped into the morning, no longer alone. And the world, after centuries of silence, breathed with him again.